Hello, I'm Sarah and I am in slightly different attire from what you normally see me in. I'm not normally a dress person. We are here in Waipara in New Zealand on a medieval camping trip. We have discovered here that the place is groaning with plum trees and there are plums dropping off all over the show. So, first part of plum jam, scavenge the plums.
For free. Alright guys, see, look at them. Look, it's falling to the ground, juicy, and there's nothing wrong with it, and they're just going to go to waste. So, guys,
Right.
where you go?
Right.
Well,
But it's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, I said they could have one each.
Okay, alright. Where you go? Let's go nuts.
This is the haul we got, along with a few green gages thrown in. So we found a green gauge tea, so I'm just going to pick them out because they're not quite ripe yet. But yes, we filled that. And so I actually just weighed them on the kitchen scales. We've got over 12 kilos in there. Now, of course, they are these little cherry plums that grow wild. They are really hard to get the stones out of. So first thing we need to do is get all the stones out. So I've emptied about half the load into here. I don't have a pot big enough for the whole lot. And I've just put a very small amount of water, just a few tablespoons in the bottom. And I'm just heating this up on a low heat and just going to keep stirring it until all the plums have separated from the stones. And then I will show you what to do next, so yummy! This is nearly ready for sifting. Oops. As I'm stirring this, I'm actually just purposefully squishing some of these plums onto the side of the pan. Because of course we want to get the stone out. Right, so that is looking nice and smooshy. So I'm going to do my best. Transfer this into this bowl bit by bit. And just smush it with the spoon as I go. And hopefully we'll be left with all the pits and stuff. I do actually like keeping skin in there. You are so lucky if you've got plums. Mom. Yes. Oh, that lovely red colour. Lots of liquid down in there. Yeah, unfortunately, I do like having chunky jam. I like lots of fruit chunks. But it is hard with this type of plums because you do have to... Ooh, put a bit much in there. You do have to strain it out to get all the stones out. So in doing that, you do, you can't really end up with a nice chunky jam. It's more smooth. But some people like it that way. So just go through that bit by bit. But yeah, you should just be left with all the... Now it depends how fussy you want to get. You could go through and start actually picking all the pips out and put the skin back in or whatever. I'll probably start off being really fussy, trying to get as much in as I can, and as time goes on I'll get less fussy because I've got a lot to do here. So wish me luck. So after rather a lot of effort, I have strained out all the stones, and hopefully I can still get a few little bitty bits through there, but it's mostly just going to be pretty smooth jam because, as predicted, I just couldn't be bothered going through and picking out all bits of skin to keep in. So anyway, so now we've got to add sugar. I'm actually going to have to do this in 2 batches because I just about filled up this whole pot. But of course we need to add sugar now. That's kind of a personal preference thing, the amount of sugar that you put in. Traditionally you put 50% fruit, 50% sugar. As you may have seen by my other videos, I'm not a huge fan of putting a ton of sugar and stuff, so I usually go with about 2/3 because I find if I put less than that it doesn't quite set properly and the sugar does stop it from going off. I've got about 7.2 kilos worth of fruit here, so I've got... Olivia's got her friend over today, seriously. If I have to hear about Fortnite one more time. Children are crazy. Anyway, that's why I've got no helpers today. They've got friends over and they're just out there being nutters. Yeah, so I've divvied it into 2 pots. That equates to about 3.6 kilos. I've gotten this here. So about 2/3 of that is about 2.4. So I'm going to add about 2.4 kilos worth of sugar in. It's just a case of bringing this up to the boil. This will need to boil for a while until it's set. Now, the way you tell when it's set, if you put a plate in the freezer, and I will show you how you tell when it's set. But this is quite a big batch, so this will take quite a while. Yes, I'm doing a YouTube video, Max. You want to say hi in the background? Yell out hi.
Hi!
That was Max.
Hi!
That was Aston.
Hi!
I may or may not leave that in, we'll see.
Hi, Whitey!
That was Sam.
Kalati! Bye-bye, Kalati!
Freaking me crazy.
Fortnite.
He does play Fortnite.
And do not bleep that out. Bye-bye, mate. Blue.
I've actually had this spoon in the freezer. I'll show you how we do the test to see if it's setting or not. I can tell already that it's not, but just put a little bit on the back of that spoon. Run my finger across it. Oh, actually it's not. It's probably not far off. It's still just looking a little bit runny, but it is holding that shape. I'm just going to give it a few more minutes. That's actually holding its shape quite nicely there. Try to put my finger across. Pull that, Sammy. Yeah, that's actually holding its shape quite nicely. So I might go ahead and start bottling these now. When it comes to the jars, first you need to sterilise them. Now you can do that with really, really hot soapy water. But yeah, putting them in a heavy cycle in the dishwasher is a great way to sterilise them. And then you want to cook them in the oven. Oh, don't look at the mess on the bottom of my oven. Let's just look at the top shelf. But you just want to keep them on at about 110 degrees in the oven. Because you want to keep those jars nice and hot. And when you put the jam into it, you want that jam to be nice and hot too. That's actually just finished simmering. I'm just going to put it on low a bit again. And then we get to play a really fun game of guess which lid fits onto which jar. Pick the kitchen that's had jam made in it. Excuse the noise of the dishwasher in the background. Now, for the fun bit. If any part of this process is going to lead to me burning my fingers, this is going to be it. We need a ladle. It would be ideal, actually, if I had a funnel to pour this, but I don't. So, I'm going to towel, because I know it's going to get messy. I've got another cloth, because the jars in here are hot. The jam is hot. Now I'm using a cloth as opposed to my oven gloves, just because they're going to get jam all over them and it's just easy to wash a cloth. Now, just want to ladle it in. Now the jam is still pretty runny at this stage, but it will set. I'm sitting. Ladle it in. Put down on here. Lid, I think it's one of those lids. Yeah, just put it on nice and tight. Now, because these are the little poppy up and downy lids, they're up at the moment. After I leave it for a while, hopefully, I'll press it down and it will actually stay down. That's a good sign that it's nice and sealed. So, here we go, one beautiful jar of jam. I will do the rest of those. And we'll let them sit and set for a while and we'll see how they come out. I'll do the ultimate test with scones later. Look at these babies. Now confession time. This did not come out perfectly the first time. The first batch did not set after 24 hours. It was still quite liquid. I poured all the jam back into the pot, reboiled it, and I added 2 tablespoons of lemon juice per kilo of fruit. And lemon juice has something called pectin in it. Now you can actually buy pectin from the store apparently in either a liquid or a powder form. I couldn't find any, but I was told lemon juice. So that's what I did. It's the first time I've ever had that issue of jam not setting. So that was a bit of a learning curve for me, but it seems to have, if we have a look at the jar and that jam, that seems to have set quite nicely now. That's nice sort of jammy consistency. So, yay.